Good evening, Brian and Nick here, live somewhere towards the end of March, isn't it?
It is. We're only just a few days away from the closing of March.
Yeah. A special hello to Justin out there and to this wonderful man, Randall, who's written this great book. Which
We're going to go close to the lens.
Yeah, I'll go close to the lens. Anyone who's looking at this should get a copy.
Here I am, guys.
We're here.
Nick and Brian back in the budget home studio. And hey, we want to just talk about a lot of things, but mainly because Nick and I get on well, but we got this as a headline for you to look at. And this man is actually saying some pretty serious stuff about the next financial collapse for 2014. That's this year.
Yeah, I'm
He's
a little
not the
bit
only
dubious myself. It could happen, it will happen. Yeah, all which goes up comes down, but we're just not very good at the timing on these things.
No.
It's
But you wouldn't have to be clever to sort of figure out that this could be a logical consequence of the position that a lot of economies, significant enough number of economies, have taken with their debt-based.
yeah. The bit which I find really interesting is that I keep an eye on oil, have done since I was a student years ago, and we were introduced to the Hubbard's peak theory of peak oil, and there's some really interesting geopolitical things which are happening, which are tied to this whole sort of peak oil thing, and we've seen the US using a form of energy arbitrage recently to get more oil out of the tar sands, etc., and you hear a lot of nonsense about them becoming an exporter again, but they're still a major importer. There's a huge link between economic activity and energy, and at the moment the energy is holding up there, but it's been flat, which means that the thing which enables us to run up debt traditionally is future production, future growth. Unless you've got energy growth, you're not going to get the economic growth. So the corollary on that one, moving on, is that you're going to sink your ability to pay future debt. And someone at some stage is going to come cooling on that debt. And the debt levels are so astronomical at the moment that when they come, they'll be looking for astronomical numbers. And then, as they say, the proverbial will hit the fan.
Yeah. So it's the triggering mechanism and who it is that's actually pulling on those levers, which is sometimes a little mysterious. But
It is. I mean, you could quite literally print credit forever if people believed in it and didn't come knocking.
yeah.
And that would keep going,
But there you got the contracts, and there are contracts out there that many people are not aware of. Governments will have agreed to things, individuals, private sector as well as public. It's got itself tied down into contracts.
Yeah.
And, this is actually difficult stuff. We're back again to old Ben Franklin.
Yeah,
Warning.
Funny. Brian, despite his knowledge that this oil stuff is not hanging around, is determined to burn some more, and he's been looking at cars. And he came in today, been out to these car yards, and he's saying, look, list price on these vehicles, 35 grand, 40 grand, and they were actually going off, so long as you had cash, 20 grand.
Yeah.
He's saying, what the hell is going on when this is going on? There's something not right.
Just letting you know, guys, I don't need any more cars, okay? But I do follow what's going on, and I am kind of curious. I got a bicycle, and I got a motorcycle, and Nick here's got himself. He's quite a Vespa. We're going to have to show you. We're going to have to show you a picture of his Vespa. It's his pride and joy, and I'm very proud that he's got it as well. Because Vespa has a tradition, a little bit like Triumph motorcycles, right? Yeah.
It's the sort of midlife crisis I should have had 20 years ago when I was in midlife.
Yeah.
Let's face
it, both of us are peak oilers, both Nick and I are peak oilers, but what we do understand is the human condition. Hey guys, we're not consistent. We're not going to be the consistent models that you're looking for. We're actually just like the rest of the human race. We're full of failings and shortcomings, and we want to preach one thing, and do something else. And in the meantime, though, but we're a little bit wily because we're actually looking around, and Nick does, and I do too, looking around to shore up our position.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, well, no matter, you know, what happens when the chips are down, it's really hard eating pieces of gold. And I think actually Bitcoins aren't that easy to eat either. So, I mean, like having that veggie garden, and Nick, God bless him, he's got some chickens.
Yeah, I'm the bean king as well, you know. When it comes to beans, I can do beans like you wouldn't believe. You know? Runner beans, broad beans, favelled beans, you name it, beans, I do beans.
And
so,
what I've discovered is you can go down to the cafe and pay quite a lot of money for a breakfast. But up here at Pep's Cafe, where we feed the birds as well, you can get a nice piece of toast, poach an egg and put it on it, get a sprig of parsley and a little bit of pepper. We actually do have a bit of butter here as well. And actually let the egg soak into the toast.
Yep.
Tastes quite nice and pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. You didn't invite me.
No, but I mean, you know, down in the city where you are now, where I used to be quite a lot, but now I'm up here at the cafe looking after the birds. Incidentally, I got bitten by one of the carcass this evening and it actually roughed me up. Something shocking. I've got to tell you, they've got big, strong beaks and claws like you've never seen.
These are big parrots. They're really large parrots. They're, I think, the second biggest parrot in the world.
Yeah.
They're very powerful and they make a lot of noise and they love to bite Brian's hand.
Yeah, and it came inside, you see, and then its friends were outside. And it couldn't actually do the window. The window was a puzzle to it, so it was up, pushed against the big landscape window, and outside it had a couple of its mates. And they were fluttering around, calling to it. Wah, wah! And it was going really nuts in here.
You've too much time with them, haven't you?
Yeah! I mean, although everything's going to the dogs, I tell you that I am faithfully looking after the parrots.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just the way you cope. We all have different mechanisms of coping. We understand that things are unwinding, and the boosters and the promoters and the media keep telling the same story that, you know, like in New Zealand, we're a stellar economy and all the rest of it. In America and in Europe, they'll be doing the same stuff, the boosters and the promoters, trying to shore it all up. But, you know, those of you who are out on the streets toughing it out know a different story. We're here, if you happen to be able to get onto YouTube, which is where this ends up, we're here in empathy with you. I mean, this is one big struggle. Russell Crowe's not going to help us, nor is Noah. But I tell you what, like, you know, if we share all our ideas a little bit, you know, you might just pick up on some things. And I have to say, God bless him, Randall, he's just tremendous. He's charted, you know, a way forward with this wonderful little book. We've talked about it before, Randall, I know. But Nick now's got his hands on it, so...
we'll be coming back to you on that when I've done some more reading. Yeah. Just as a matter of interest, Brian used this word sort of unwinding and, you know, we talk about crash and decline. I've pretty much come away from that concept, and that I always sort of look at that as the stuff which goes on in the background, but at the same time you're taking a breath every few minutes, and your real job is to actually keep breathing. And all of those peripheral things like finance and oil and energy and stuff like that, it's just how we live at the moment. We're just going to have to live differently, and so what we're looking at is a change as opposed to an unwinding.
Yeah.
And I mean that seriously. If you look on it as being a tragedy or as an absolute failure or anything like that, you're probably missing the point that you're letting your life be run by those factors as opposed to taking control and actually doing something which is necessary to keep you the way you are. Yeah. And I would be quite excited, I know it's not going to happen, to arrive back here in 200 years' time and see how things are actually going on, because I'm sure they will be. Yeah.
And he hasn't seen Noah yet, so I don't think he's going to have that kind of longevity. But however, hey, look, shall we just call it quits for now?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we just love getting together, Nick and I, and talking to you out there in YouTube land or wherever you are. And we look forward to seeing you again. But do, you know, get back to us and leave some comments.
Yeah, please do. We'll do one soon as well. We'll give it some pre-publicity.
Yeah.
We've been ruminating and chewing our cuds in the best New Zealand dairy style over about whether America has reached the end of empire, whether that's actually happened. And we saw a few hints on that in the Ukraine. We saw the Russians basically saying, go forth with some degree of impunity. And maybe we've reached that sort of
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It
So
is.
that's our next one.
So watch for space.
Okay, watch your space.
We'll see you again
Thanks,
soon.
guys.